You've seen me try, you've seen me break, you've seen me fight the demons I face.
Hi everybody, it's Kai. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new speed build video. And I'm really excited for you guys to join me here in this video because today we are going to be building a diner in Sixam, and Sixam is basically a secret lot that you can unlock through the scientist career and also by level upping your rocket science skill. But to access this world, I actually used some cheats to do so because I didn't really want to waste time working on the skills that have to be level upped just to access this slot. So I decided to use cheats instead. But for your information, for this slot, I thought that it would be a bit bigger than what I expected, but it is not. I think this is a 30 by 20 lot, so I ended up having to build kind of a cramped diner from the inside, but from the outside kind of looks great. But do let me know what you guys think in the comments, of course. But as you can see, I'm working on the structure and I don't really know what a diner is supposed to look like, especially because it's space themed. So I decided to go on Pinterest and find kind of a rough idea of what I wanted to build. So it kind of turned out like this diner. But yeah, I was kind of down because of the size of the lot that I mentioned just now, because it's quite small and I expected it to be a bit bigger. But in the end, I think everything works out perfectly fine. So I really hope you guys will like this video as much as I did building this build. But anyways, you can see that the structure already came together, and yeah, for the color scheme, I decided to go with a very metallic color scheme. So in the end, I used a lot of those metal swatches for the wallpaper and also for the interior. So I also used a lot of debug items for this build as well, but I also managed to use a lot of items from the Star Wars pack, which I never really use. I just bought it, but when I bought it, I thought like, what should I build? I didn't really know what to build. So in the end, I came up with this idea to build a space diner. And I actually wanted to build a kind of a normal type of diner, but I figured that it would be too normal and too generic, so I decided to use a space theme instead. And I also was playing Diner Dash. I'm not sure if a lot of you are familiar with that, but it is this game whereby you have to serve customers and also just make it in time to reach your daily goal. But I was kind of inspired by that also because in the mobile version of Diner Dash, there is a kind of this restaurant. I think you call it a restaurant with all those levels that are space themed. And I really like the space theme because it is very metallic and kind of futuristic, and there are robots in it and also aliens. So I figured that this diner would be a hangout spot for various types of sims, from mermaids to aliens and to those what is the other one? I don't know. Wait, there's aliens, there's mermaids, and other occults. Let's just say there's other occults. But anyways, for the packs that I used for this build, I basically used the Star Wars pack, the Get to Work pack, and also the Dine Out pack. Those three packs are the main packs that I used in this build, but I think there are also other packs that I used for this build as well. But as you can see, I struggled a little bit with the top part of the build because I actually wanted to put kind of this advertising billboards on top of there, but when I thought of it, it doesn't really make sense because it's a hangout spot for aliens and occults. So in the end, I just demolished that whole billboards area thing. But for the interior color scheme, I tried to match it with the exterior color scheme, but there are not a lot of clutter. I mean, there isn't a lot of clutter for the interior because I figured that it should be just a simple, bright and metallic kind of vibe in there, and there wasn't also much space for me to put a lot of clutter in it because I thought that if I put a lot of clutter in it, it would be kind of too messy or too cramped up. So I decided to just keep it simple and just a few decorations here and there, but I really like the exterior. So let me know what you guys think of this build in the comments if you want to. And for the flooring of the build, I used the laboratory flooring, if I'm not mistaken. It's from Get to Work. But for the inside, I think I will be using a different type of flooring, which is kind of this black and white, kind of this chessboard swatch that is from the base game, if I'm not mistaken. But for this build also, I managed to use a lot of stuff that I don't really use in building, such as those signs from Dine Out that are on the windows of this build, and also a lot of those Star Wars items. But when I scrolled through the debug menu for the Star Wars pack, there was a lot of items that I could use, but for this build, I didn't think they were suitable enough, so I ended up using kind of only a little bit of them. But in the end, I think it all turned out pretty well. But let me know what you guys think, if I should build a Star Wars themed build, because I've never done that before. This is actually my first time using the Star Wars pack, I'm not gonna lie. And I think a lot of those items suit this build, of course, because it's a space theme build. But anyways, for the landscaping, there wasn't a lot of space as well for me to landscape this build, but in the end I used a lot of those plants and those alien types of plants that are from Get to Work pack. And then on the top also of the build, you can see that I put those alien UFO spaceships with those floating flowers, and I love that kind of vibe because it kind of looks magical, but at the same time I wanted to give an effect that it's like floating in the air somehow. But of course it's a flat land that I'm building on. But anyways, I also used that big tree that came with Get to Work, which is kind of scary looking for me when I look at it. And I sized it up because I wanted at least one giant landscape item in this lot. And as you can see, I messed around with the structure a little bit because I wanted to add a little bit of elements that would make it look kind of like less empty, but I didn't manage to do so. So in the end, I just placed this empty lot over here with I think just a light box on the side. But anyways, we are going to be working on the interior now, and I think I sized this build by 3 squares to both of the sides because I couldn't fit in a proper like stuff in it from the Dine Out pack. So I increased it a bit, but I didn't record it, of course, because I didn't want to waste time just showing you guys that I made it bigger. But yeah, for the inside, it's quite small, but there are 4 dining booths, and also I put in, I think, 4 tables, like normal tables that came with the Star Wars pack. And the center over here is going to be where the cook does their thing, where they cook the food. And also it's quite small, but I wanted to include like kind of a reception area at the front of the build, but I didn't manage to do so because the space was really small for me to fit it. But typically when I build restaurants, I usually put the kitchen part of the restaurant in one side of the build, but for this build I decided to put it in the center because I wanted to get out a little bit of my comfort zone. So I ended up placing the kitchen area in the center of the build, and I quite like it because it kind of looks different from what I usually do, and I think that's a good thing because it is a varying factor to create a lot of different content for this channel. But I also managed to use a lot of lights from the Journey to Batu pack and also the Get to Work pack just to fill up the space that is empty. And you can see over here that I wanted to do this kind of reception area, but I didn't. But in the end, I put those couple of robots that came with the Star Wars pack to make it look more robotic or alien type because, you know, Star Wars, it's related to space and Darth Vader and also aliens, so I decided to put those cute robots over there. But I'm not sure what the name of the robots are, but if you do know the names of the robots, the proper name, please let me know in the comments. I think I watched only one Star Wars movie, which is I think the main character's name is Daisy or something. But the robot is R2-D2, and I clearly remember the robot's name because it was my first Star Wars movie. I'm not typically a fan of Star Wars movies. I'm actually not a fan of movies in general because I find myself not really watching movies when I'm free, and I just don't like the idea of it. It's not that I don't like the idea of it, it's just that I'm not fond of the movies, if you get what I mean. But anyways, I also cluttered up the kitchen, which is the center part of the build, and I messed up with the lights as well because I wanted to make the inside look more lighted, but at the same time use different types of lighting for this build, and I think I managed to do it pretty well. And yeah, I'm working on the reception here right now, and in the end I put a carpet in here as well, but I think I skipped that part out. But anyways, we are going to be approaching the end of the video soon, so I really hope you guys like this build. If you do, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and comment anything you want, any suggestions that you have, or anything that will do, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!